Right, so here's question 1, and it looks to be just your typical converting decimal into binary. So, first things first, we want to start up here. So it goes units and then times everything by 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 8, 4, 16, 32, 64, and 1 to 8. Right, so remember it, write it from right to left. Never start 1, 2, 4 this way. Then what we need to think of is this is your magic number, 164, and we want to work out how many of each number can we have that adds up to 164. So it's like shopping for numbers, okay, and we can only use the number once, right? So what we do is, can 128 go into 164? Yes, it does. And then we think of, well, what number's left? And again, you'll have a calculator when you're actually in here, right? So just get your calculator out and you can work out. So it's 164 minus 128, and that gives you 36 left. Okay, now does 64 go into 36? No, it doesn't, but 32 goes into 36 once, and we have 4 left. And then we say, does 16 go into 4? No, it doesn't. 8 doesn't go into 4, but 4 goes into 4 once. We don't have any left, so that's 2 zeros there. So what you've got is you've got the binary representation of this number 164, and it doesn't do any harm just adding these numbers with the 1 under it just to make sure they add up. And also remember, if there's a 1 at the very end, that means it's going to be an odd number, right? And you know it's an even, so it can never be a 1 here, right? But that's the answer to question number 1. Question number 2 is just talking about they're wanting to store the total number of pupils, right? So you're not going to get 2.5 pupils, right? So it's a total number, so it's going to be a whole number, and this is where you're going to use an integer. Okay, so that's your data type, right? So the type of data is whole numbers, and that's going to be your integer. If you look at question number 3, they're talking about create a complex condition that will display if the person is between ages 5 and 18, right? The word inclusive means it includes these two numbers, okay? So it includes 5 and it includes 18, right? So what we can say is we can say if, then we say age is greater or equal to 5, so that equal sign is including 5, and okay, so it's going to be a complex condition, so that's why you have an and age is less and equal to 18. Okay, so it's the equals that actually make it inclusive. And what you'll find is you get a mark for this part with this, and a separate mark for this one. Okay, so that's where you get your 2 marks from. Right, question number 4. Web browser keeps history, states some other features. Well, try and see if I can write neater this time. You've got bookmarks. That's also known as your favourites. Anything else? I mean, you've got a refresh button, forward button, you've got an address bar. Okay, so there's a number of different things. So this isn't by all means just the 2 answers. Okay, and again, these answers are available online on the SQ website. Question number 5, they're talking about when a teddy bear, you have to guess a number, and if the guess is less than 1 or if the guess is 80, then it's an invalid. So I'm guessing you have to guess a number between 1 and 80. So some normal test data would just be pretty much any suitable number that's between that. So there's a number 20, that's fine. Exceptional, it just means that it should be a number that you're not expecting, right? So there's 1, minus 1, right? You shouldn't be expecting minus 99, you shouldn't be expecting 101, right? Same with that, 43, right? So it's any number that's less than 1 and above 80 is exceptional, and then any number that's between 1 and 80, right, is your normal. If we then go on to question 6, Kirsty's created a website, and here's part of the homepage. Why is this not good practice? Well, it's not good practice because basically the buttons have different styles, right? Button style not consistent, or button style stroke design not consistent. So you're wanting a website that looks consistent. And this doesn't, okay, with all these different styles of buttons, different fonts, and some you can read better than others. Right. Question number 7. Explain the purpose of the lines from 5 down to 8. Right. So essentially, it's asking you for a password, and if your guess is equal to the password, so if your user guess is equal to this password, then it'll come out the loop. But this purpose of this whole loop is it keeps on asking you until your user guess is the same as the password that's already been set. Okay, so 2 marks. So basically, move this pad down. Right, user is asked for passwords until correct answer is entered. That's essentially it. Okay, so it does keep on asking until you've entered the correct value. Question number 8, explain why compression. Okay, well, compression just means that you're actually, I'll move that down so you can see it. So compression just essentially means you're reducing the file size. Now the reason why it's used in cloud storage is online, so the smaller the file, the upload time's faster. Okay, so this allows you for faster upload. Okay, and also you could say if you've got a certain amount of storage, like 2 gigabytes, if you've got file compression, you can actually store more files. Okay, so you could now remember it's only 1 mark, so more files could be stored. So one of these is fine. Right, and if we now look at question 9, right, describe 2 methods of making program more readable. So what you've got, things like indentation, add comments. Again, there's a lot, okay, so you could say comments as well. Good variable names. So there is a large amount, okay, but that is question 9. Then we go to question 10, right? Now, seems to be a wee problem with my copy and pasting. Okay, so the answer to question 10 is actually string. So what's it? No, in fact, that just looks like one of the previous questions. What's the data type there for the term password? That's going to be string, right? Because string allows you to hold numbers and letters, right? And you'll see there's some alphanumeric and various things like that. So that's going to be string. Question 11. Patrick is setting up a network. Explain why Patrick would choose client server. Okay, well, it's easier to back up files, right? So remember, at the end of the day, all your My Documents are backed up into the server. okay? And also, you've got different levels of access, okay? But you could also say you've got usernames and passwords. Okay, so you log on every time you use a computer in the school, right? And that's because it's a client-server network. And again, there's quite a few other answers as well, right? And again, you've got different access than I've got, so I can access a different area within the servers than you can, right? And that's all because it's a client server. Now, if I go to question 12, Katie is in a back garden with smartphone access, right? What law? Okay, so she's using somebody else's network in which she's not been given permission, and that's called the Communications Act. Okay, so it's important to try and get all these laws memorised because there will be a question appears at some point. Describe how keylogging can be a risk. Okay, so keylogging, basically you get sensitive information, right, from somebody's computer. Okay, so you have sensitive information or sensitive data is logged into a file. So it could be a username, could be your password, it could be your bank details, usernames and passwords for different websites as well, right? And question number 14. A company has both wired and wireless. The wireless network allows portability solutions. Describe an advantage of the company of wired network over wireless. Okay, now it is more secure, right? So wired is a lot more secure. Doesn't suffer from interference. It's got faster data speeds. I think I'll try and change the thickness of this brush. See if this makes it different. Right, so there's quite a few advantages, right? So it's more secure, faster data speeds, it's more reliable. Okay. And last but not least, question 15. Right, state one type of test that could be done. Well, you want to make sure everything's spelled correctly, right? What about spelling? That's a bit better. Right, so you've got spelling, you've got maybe graphic quality. Again, it's just one mark, right? So you don't want a pixelated graphic. Right, you've also got things like good colour schemes. Obviously, it's just a black and white picture, really. Okay, but again, look at the solutions that are online. And that is section 1. Okay, so I'll just stop this now.